Let's talk about this news that I think might be a good lesson in how internet rumors start. Because the way that you have this start is with a report from Stat News yesterday about Eli Lilly giving access to an experimental obesity drug to a 79-year-old patient. It's called retatrutide. If you are even remotely on fitness, TikTok, or those feeds, you've heard a lot about it. You got people taking it. You've got a lot of people wanting to take it. And so far, it's been proven to be very effective for weight loss. But it is not FDA approved yet. And according to Stat, Eli Lilly and the FDA have allowed one person to gain access to the drug via compassionate use, which lets patients with serious and life-threatening medical issues access experimental drugs. And a clinician apparently ordered it to treat someone for refractory obesity with obstructive sleep apnea and pulmonary hypertension. That person was reportedly 79 years old when the request was made in April, and so you had sources saying it drew the interest of top health officials suggesting the person receiving this drug was well connected. And so then, with that stage set, you had people going, okay, who is 79 in April, is generally a big person, is well connected. A lot of people going, is it Donald Trump? And what you saw is that the reporters at Stat, they did the same mental math. Where with one writing, given the demographics and the peculiar nature of the application, I asked the White House if this patient was President Trump. And adding, I did not get a direct answer. And so the fact that the White House didn't give an answer, it kind of just created this space for people to run wild with the theory. Right? And so you have people kind of just compiling evidence to prove it. And they also didn't have to look that far back to try to do that. Because, I mean, just yesterday, Trump gave remarks praising Eli Lilly.
Because right here in Lehigh Valley, Eli Lilly has just announced, great company, by the way, drug company, a $3.5 billion investment.
And then you had Trump, he's told this story before. It is actually, I am not a fan of the man, but I just appreciate this story. He started talking about weight loss drugs and that friend who's apparently using them.
Who takes the fat drug? And a friend of mine who's extremely fat, sloppy, but very brilliant. He's a brilliant businessman, but he's a slob. There's no question about it. Very neurotic person, which you need sometimes to be successful. But he said, President, I just came over here and I bought, I won't say Ozempic or whatever the hell it was, but I bought the fat drug. I said, I didn't know you used it because it's not working. And I used him as, he's begging me not to use his name, so I won't, but he's a very successful guy. He's actually a pretty well-known guy, brilliant business guy. Worth a lot of money.
And well, with that story, you have a lot of people wondering, who the hell is this friend that he is just roasting? You also had some saying it sounded like Trump was really just describing himself, especially because, again, this is not the first time he's told this story. And actually, this popped one of the last times because you had a lot of people think that he was talking about Elon Musk. But now, with all the people that were running these theories, you had the White House kind of ending this and shutting the rumors down. Or with the rapid response account writing, no, it wasn't President Trump, and you people are truly sick and deranged. The spokespeople also slamming the reporter who said that she asked the White House for comment, and the White House director of communications writing, how is this a real quote? You're just a big idiot. You certainly made a name for yourself by completely embarrassing yourself at the expense of being thirsty for clicks and peddling falsehoods. You know, the deputy press secretary also saying, because this has to be spelled out for Lizzie Law, who has proven herself to be an unserious gossip columnist, this application was not for the president. Though again, it does appear she in fact asked them prior to publishing only to get the runaround. And I do have to add, even though I didn't think that it was the president taking this, and I also don't care if it was or it wasn't, act like people are crazy to think that it might have been Trump is so stupid. Like, people have eyes, they see how he looks. The age in these stories, it seems to possibly connect. He has also talked about making GLP-1s more accessible to the general public. So it's not the craziest leap, especially if you do not give a comment when asked for comment. But then also, while we're on this topic, I have to note, this isn't even the biggest controversy regarding weight loss drugs today. Because on the other end of the spectrum, we're now seeing reports about parents giving their young elementary age kids GLP-1s in a desperate attempt to fight childhood obesity. And actually with that, you have doctors talking to the Wall Street Journal and saying that childhood obesity is actually very hard to fight. And the consequences, they're severe. Right? Specialists are seeing high blood pressure, poor blood sugar control, liver dysfunction in kids as young as 4 years old, and children dealing with issues this severe, they generally don't grow out of it. And with this, you had one doctor adding, I see kids who have developed type 2 diabetes at 10, 11 years old, and saying they need help so desperately. Then also with this, most GLP-1s, they're only approved for kids as young as 12 years old, though they are also being tested on kids as young as 6. So doctors, they've been having to go off label to prescribe them, and it's been a controversial choice. Right? There are some fears that it could lead to insufficient nutrient intake, that could harm bone growth and puberty. And then on top of that, these are drugs that really only work while you're on them. So if you stop, you're going to gain the weight back, and we don't know if there are consequences to starting it as a kid and then this just going on for decades and decades. Which is why you had one doctor saying we don't have enough evidence to safely prescribe under 12 at this point. Adding, I think that potential is there for positive impact, but there are not enough studies yet. And whatever your opinion here, this is a serious issue. Around 1 in 5 kids in America, they deal with obesity. It's as you have parents trying other methods first, right? The journal talking to parents who completely changed their kids' diets, enrolled them in sports. They started doing family exercise only to see the kids still gaining weight. And so with that, you had one doctor who's been prescribing the drugs to kids under 12 saying, we don't know what the long-term effects could be, and that can be scary and unsettling. But then adding, I do know know that having obesity when you're 7, especially severe obesity, is very likely going to lead to, for sure, a reduced quality of life, premature mortality likely, really not a good life. So once again, God, we have a lot of things that I want to hear from you on today. What are your thoughts with any of this, whether it be the Trump stuff or what's happening with the kids?